Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So spooky season is finally upon us. I am so excited. I hope you are too. So this video is going to start my Halloween series for this month. This is a topic that I've been thinking a lot about, especially since I'm new to the low waist movement. So I thought it would be something super exciting to share with you. So the theme of this video is sustainable Halloween. I'm going to give you 10 tips to have a more sustainable Halloween season. And just to start this video off, I want to let you guys know that I am in no way telling you what you should do, what you should not do. I'm just giving you ideas and inspiration. Clearly, if you're watching this video, you want to learn more about how you can be more sustainable for the Halloween season. So I don't necessarily think that you would be mad for me giving you ideas to be more sustainable, but just in case, I want you to know I'm not specifically giving tips for you to avoid everything wasteful. That's not what I'm trying to do. I know that people want to give out or receive candy for Halloween, want to do X, Y, and Z that maybe zero waste people wouldn't necessarily agree with or do, but the point of the whole sustainability movement is to make it accessible to many people. So I'm not telling you that you should abstain from anything that you don't want to abstain from. I'm just giving you options and inspiration for how you can make the things that you're already doing more sustainable, and also give you alternatives if you decided that you did not want to continue doing those things. So take all this advice with a grain of salt. Do what works best for you and your lifestyle and what you are willing and want to do, because we don't need everyone doing zero waste perfectly. We need a lot of people doing the best they can, and even if that's imperfectly, I still want you to enjoy yourself. I love spooky season. Hopefully you love spooky season, so I want you to enjoy what you're doing and not feel limited by anything at all. So to start off with, I'm going to be talking about costumes. So tip number 1 is buy your costume secondhand or DIY your own costume. This one's pretty typical of what you would expect, obviously, but definitely don't go out and buy a new costume if you can avoid it at all costs. Not only is this more sustainable, but it will save you more money, and you can also make your own to save the most amount of money. If you already have all the supplies and everything you need, then it's going to be super easy to do. Or if not, you can just get a few supplies, or maybe you can even base your costume off what you already have in your closet. So if you have something that can maybe work for a costume, then you can do that, save yourself a lot of money, and not have to go out and buy anything. That's only a one-time use. Second, to go along with a one-time use thing, you can also opt to pick out costumes that can be worn on multiple occasions. So if you're in school and you have spirit days, you can use your costume for Halloween and also the spirit days. So think of like common spirit day costumes that would match with Halloween, such as pirates for Pirate Day, or school spirit day, anything like that. You can use that as a costume for Halloween as well, or any other occasion that you can think of. Tip number 3 is redonate your costume after you use it. So if you did decide to buy secondhand and you picked a costume that you'll probably never wear again, instead of just trashing it, you can donate it, obviously, and that would save waste. Okay, moving on from costumes, the next few tips are for decorations. Tip number 4, painting pumpkins has become a lot more popular recently, but I would definitely suggest sticking with the traditional carving pumpkins, because once you paint pumpkins, you have to throw them away because the paint isn't good for the environment, so you can't compost a pumpkin. So if you just carve the pumpkin, then you can compost it after you're done. You can eat the seeds, you can eat the insides of the pumpkin. Also, to go along with that, tip number 5 is to buy reusable decorations. So don't go out and buy decorations that you don't need if you already have some at home, and also don't buy decorations that are only one-time use and then you'll have to throw them away. So this can go for the pumpkins as well, because instead of carving an actual pumpkin, and if you still like to paint the pumpkins, then you can paint a ceramic pumpkin that you can use year after year. Any other kind of decorations you can think of that you can reuse, definitely opt for those rather than the single-use alternatives. Alright, so if you're a Halloween party person and you love to host Halloween parties, I have a few tips that I'm just going to mingle into one. which is minimizing the waste at your Halloween party. So if it's a small party, maybe bring your own party supplies like dishes and stuff like that. Just share them with your guests and then just wash them later. Or if it's a larger party, you can have a bring your own event where they can bring everything they need. Also have some recycle bins and compost bins available, and make sure everyone knows how to use those properly. And don't buy any special decorations for the party, just use what you already have from your normal Halloween decorations, and that should suffice. And again, with the costumes, just do the same things that I mentioned previously. The next few tips are about candy, and some of these may be a little controversial, so I'm just gonna go ahead and re-mention what I said earlier. I'm giving options, okay? This is not what you should do. I'm not telling you what to do like directly. I'm just giving you ideas for what you can do and what you can choose to do. So I'm not going to tell you not to get candy for Halloween. I'm not going to tell you that you should. I'm just giving you ideas for whichever way you want to go with it. So tip number 7, when you go out and get candy, make sure you use a reusable bag instead of a plastic bag or a one-time use Halloween bucket that they have, because you only use those for Halloween. So yeah, you're reusing it every year, but you're only reusing it once a year. So why don't you use a reusable bag that you also use for groceries or something like that, just so you don't have to go out and buy the extra bag. Like, just use what you already have, and that'll save you money as well. 8th tip is do your candy crawling at a local event or within your local community. Don't drive far away to get your candy, because it's kind of unnecessary when people in your neighborhood may be giving out candy, or there may be a trick-or-treat at like a community event or something. That way you can get all your candy at one time instead of having to drive to several different places. I know if you don't live in a neighborhood, this can be kind of hard. Coming from a small town, I did have to drive a little bit, but there was a lot of school events, a lot of church events that had candy that I went to, and then also just people that I knew. I would drive to their houses because I couldn't walk, but I wouldn't have to drive a super far distance. Like, I didn't drive a half hour for candy or anything. So just keep the driving stuff in mind when you're getting your candy. Tip number 9, only take what you can actually eat. I know it's so much fun to see how much candy you can accumulate, but honestly, every time I got any candy at all, really, I never really ate it, just because I'm super picky on candy. I only like certain kinds. And so if you do go get candy, then make sure that you're only taking what you'll eat or what someone you know will eat, and that way you're not just throwing any candy away because it's not getting eaten. And for the very last tip, tip number 10, the topic that no one wants to talk about is giving the candy out. So if you are someone who loves to give candy out, that is super fine. If you get joy out of that, I'm not going to tell you not to. Is it the most sustainable choice? I'm not going to say that it is, but I will say that if it's something that brings you joy, who am I to tell you not to do it? So I'm going to give you some tips on how to be sustainable about it. So there's not a hard and fast way that you can decide which candies are sustainable and which aren't for giving and receiving. So I'll just throw some different angles at you, and you can decide or not decide, whatever you want to do. So if you think that vegan candies are the way to go, then that's great. A lot of candies are actually vegan, even if you wouldn't think so. So some candies that are vegan are like the hard candies, or most gummy candies, as long as they don't have gelatin in it, and as long as none of the candies have like that red color dye. It's called like Red 4 or like Natural Red 4 or Cochineal or something. I don't know, but that's not vegan if you're going to be that picky about it. But yes, so hard candies and gummy candies that don't have gelatin in it or the red dye. Or if you think plastic free would be better, then some alternatives are the cardboard or paper packaged or foil candies. So like Hershey Kisses, they're wrapped in foil. Granted, foil is recyclable, but the like packaging is so small that it's gonna be hard to recycle because it'll like go through. So this one sort of goes with receiving more. So if you receive a lot of foil candies, you can recycle them, and if you have the foil, you can like roll all the foil together until you get like a substantial ball and then recycle it instead of recycling the independent pieces. Also, canned drinks. If you don't want to give out candy but you still want to give out something, you can give out canned drinks, and those can obviously be recycled. The final thing that I'll say about the candies is that you could do not individually wrapped candies, and this is kind of tricky because like as a trick-or-treater or as a parent of a trick-or-treater, you don't want them to accept anything that's not individually wrapped from a stranger because you don't know what they could have done to it or anything. Also, I don't recommend taking stuff that's not individually wrapped from strangers. So this is definitely an option if you know the people. So if you're at an event and you're handing out candy at the event and they know who you are, then they'll be willing to accept that. Some things that don't require individual wrapping are bulk items. If you get bulk candies, then you can just like have a bowl and then just have people take some. You can do fruits if you want to hand out fruits for Halloween, or also you can make homemade stuff. So if you make really good Halloween treats, you can give those out as well without packaging. So those are my 10 tips for a sustainable Halloween. Hopefully that helps at least a little bit. I know Halloween is a very tricky holiday to get into like sustainability stuff just because it is pretty wasteful by default. But there's also so many other options that you can do to avoid the non-sustainable stuff that goes along with Halloween. Like instead of giving out candy, or if you don't usually give out candy, then you can enjoy the other Halloween things like going on a haunted trail or apple orchard, pumpkin patch, anything like that. You can definitely do things that aren't not sustainable. You know what I mean? Like there's so many other Halloween spooky events, happenings, what have you, that you can do. You can watch movies. So really, the possibilities are endless. These are just options for if you do decide to partake in the more wasteful Halloween activities. These are just options to make those less wasteful, but again, you can totally abstain from all these if you want to and just do other things. But I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm just going to help you figure out what you want to do, how you can be more sustainable in what you're already doing and what you're already getting enjoyment out of. But again, completely up to you. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you got something good out of this video. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment if you think of an idea that I left out, or if you decide you want to try any of the ideas, definitely let me know. That will make me feel so good inside. I will see you guys next week for my next Halloween video. Bye guys.